McLaughlin, Republican Socialist activist up there in Strabane, County Tyrone. Scary times, uncharted territories, Michael, but you're going to tell us about a few good news stories, some positive community-based initiatives that are sort of taking the bull by the horns themselves, which was especially important during a period in which it looked and people feared that the state were doing very little.
Hi, 100% Kieran. Thanks very much for your podcast. It's a great initiative, and I hope it works out well. But I'd like to start out with a wee shout out to the workers in the healthcare system and the retail industry and whatever else. They're really stepping up to the mark here. Like family members, myself, down at McLaughlin Hospital there. Young girl just qualified as a nurse, and she's straight under the trenches. She's like a Wayne to me, do you know what I mean? But really proud of her.
Yeah, we'd second that. I'm sure all our listeners would absolutely and totally send solidarity to the healthcare workers and indeed all workers who are putting themselves on the line, and we would hope that when this is over they don't just go to the back of the queue in terms of people's considerations again. We need to remember them. Michael, you have some relatives in Wuhan.
Coronavirus, it's not a new terminology to our house, Kieran. We've been talking about coronavirus since January. I've got two relatives who live in a called Changsha, the city outside Wuhan. It has about 7 million people in it.
Yep.
They're currently on lockdown now, going on 8 weeks.
Oh God, yeah.
So we've been communicating with them from the beginning, since they went into lockdown, talking to them and seeing if they need anything, reassurance or anything sent over and things. But they handled it okay. But one of the main things that they've been saying to us is they're completely and totally shocked at how ill prepared the West, especially here, was to meet the coronavirus, and how shockingly poor it's being handled.
Yeah.
Like what they done there was after the initial shock of it, and whenever they began to realise what was actually happening, like cities of 10 million people, 7 million people were completely and totally shut down. The Chinese state swung into action, building hospitals, providing food and services and the people's front doors so they didn't have to go out. The capitalist system isn't going to cope with the coronavirus in the same way as the more socialist left-wing countries have been dealing with it, like Japan and China and that. So it's worrying times, and the word that we're getting from our people over in China, our family members, is don't be complacent. This thing, it can kill young, old, sick, healthy. We were contacted by communist comrades from Bologna Wednesday. It took us a few days to verify the information, but they contacted the IRSP officially with some information on it, and they were saying that during the surge and during the spike of cases, there's just not the ventilators and the respirators to deal with the pneumonia.
Yeah.
And then that's when the damage is done, whenever the healthcare system has to prioritise who gets the ventilators and the help, and then that's where you're seeing the high numbers of deaths. So it's really a serious thing, and people need to wake up. What we're seeing locally in Strabanne and generally and around the border areas, people have been taking it seriously. There's a really healthy mistrust for the British Tory party here, and anything they say. So communities have been stepping up. You're seeing WhatsApp groups, social media pages emerging, taxi firms delivering prescriptions, teams pulling together.
These are unofficial, or I suppose they're just non-state recognised community initiatives, organic community initiatives.
non-state actions, completely non-state actions, like where people are just taking the initiative themselves. Do you know, they make sure that people understand that we're coming off the back of nearly a full decade of attacks on the healthcare system. You know, people aren't stupid. People see that the healthcare system as it stands is struggling. You know, I had a journey through the healthcare system last year with my father. We lost him to cancer in late October. But
that's right. I'm sorry to hear that. Your dad was a great man, a great friend of Republican socialism and Republican activism throughout his entire life. And Michael lost him last year. That's right.
He's sadly missed here in Wales, but just my experience from that journey. The healthcare system really operates on a two-tier system, where if you have money, you get fast-tracked, and there's a better possibility of you surviving your cancer. But if you don't have resources to fund your own private care, then you're on the waiting list, and you're on the waiting list on an NHS that's already under attack by neoliberalism, by the Tories, scaling it down with the mind to privatise and everything.
Yeah.
So healthcare workers, the healthcare system, the NHS, as it stands at the minute, without the coronavirus, we're already getting it tight. Like you seen there in the run-up to the beginning of the winter there, you know, there was crises in the A&Es in Belfast and Derry City and Causeway. All like these crises in the A&Es still exist.
Yeah.
But there's just getting more cases heaped on them now. So like we're really in uncharted territory, and it's really dangerous times. Like.
Do you think, Michael? And I asked this. I was speaking to Sean Bresnan earlier. I was speaking to Joan Matthews, and what I asked them both was, do you think the scale of this crisis may see society looking at itself a little more deeply in the future? You know, it's got we grew up. You know, our children are growing up in a generation that takes capitalism for granted as the only way. There's very little expressions of radicalism or any wish to change society in any fundamental sense. Do you think this crisis might just make people ask a few more critical questions about the capitalist system and how it will feel to protect people at the crucial point?
Well, I can probably speak first as a Republican, and speak about the normalisation process that's happened in the occupied six counties since 1998, where the British occupation has been normalised and accepted. So and all the chaos that comes along with that, but whenever you're trying to have an administration and Stormont and inside a failed state, that will never work. So the concept of normalisation has been smashed by the toxicity of the occupation in itself, where the British occupation in the six counties is self-defeating. It's never going to work. It never has worked. They've had 100 years. You make it work, and those 100 years, last 100 years, is still to be a legacy of brutal sectarian state oppression of the nationalist community, and then decades and decades of open armed conflict, and then a peace process that in reality was just a normalisation process and a disarmament of republicanism. But we have to accept that the peace came around at the right time. You know, like there was the stalemate was only going to be stalemate. Like there was no armed Republican victory, or there was no armed Republican defeat by the British government. So something had to give, and peace was right, and it came at the right time. But whenever Republicans kind of took a step back and kind of evaluated it, and whatever, the British didn't. Like the British ramped up they took down the pillboxes and the military installations on the border, but they replaced them with APRN cameras and the technology. Like from the patent report, the RUC special branch at 12 o'clock at night ceased to exist. But at 1 minute past 12, 600 RUC special branch officers became civilian contractors in a big fancy new high-tech office in Palace Barracks. So our Space Branch is still here.
Of course they are.
The British Army are still here, but we've been searching for 2 decades for a strategy to evolve our own national liberation struggle that incorporates the peaceful wishes of the people. So what this coronavirus has only done is just exposed the partitionist state again as unworkable and failed. And what needs to come from the ashes of the coronavirus is an all-Ireland mindset.
Yeah.
Now, people need to start thinking on a 32-county basis. You know, you can't have an island such as ours, 2 separate healthcare systems, 2 separate education systems, 2 separate economies. It's creating poverty, it's creating exploitation, it's feeding capitalism, and it's keeping the Irish working class divided and sectarianized. Like, we're not going to see the end of sectarianism until we see the end of partition and British occupation, because it feeds sectarianism and needs sectarianism to exist.
I mean, I think going on, I mean, I've been housebound for the past week now, more, because my wife's expecting, she's 5 months pregnant, just like your own wife, Michael. From where I'm sitting and just looking at, reading the lay of the land on, online on Twitter and everything else, I can see this virus and the impact that it creates delivering another, and I really don't mean to demean the importance of it by politicising it, but I'm going to politicise it. We're activists and everything is political, the personal is political. I could see this delivering another serious blow to partition in Ireland. I think people are utterly insulted by the delay that Stormont showed in getting on to its feet, and a delay which was clearly motivated by a wish to align the system with that in London. People saw how stupid it was. They're insulted by the very concept of a different time scale on the one island. I even saw Jamie Bryson giving out about it. I could see this delivering another hammer blow, which could assist in the future.
Well, 100%, Kieran, and it's all about how we react to it, right? Because there needs to be a mindset within the activist space and the Irish unity community, especially in the occupied 6 counties, because since 1998 we've always rushed to find differences within our own strategies and find fault in each other. We've always rushed the negative whenever we're looking at each respective organisation, like the IRSP or Sinn Féin or SERU or the 32 County Sovereignty Movement or Republican Sinn Féin or any of the broad spectrum of Republican groups that sit out there at the moment. We've all, like, any single one of them can be criticised, and every single one of them is imperfect. Yeah. But there's going to come a time where we're going to have to seek a common goal. Yeah. There's going to come a time that we can't continue the cycle of false dawns and excuse me language, but we can't keep adding names to the count list. There has to be a moment where people go, right, folks, here, there's a common goal. Let's fall in the post United Ireland time within a 32 county socio-economic framework. As a socialist republic when we burst into existence? It's probably not.
It's funny enough you mentioned that list. I won't repeat it, but the list, I first heard of that list about 22 years ago. I did it, and I was at a public meeting in Dublin, and it was then Councillor Francie Mackey mentioned the list, and he says, "Watch you don't end up on the list," and I don't know. I'm sure it did. I don't know anybody. There's more people on it than off it now, I think. But
I think it was a wee bit of a privilege at one time, to be honest.
Yeah. But you're nobody now if your name's not on that list. You're nobody. But what I'm finding amazing about since Yes for Unity happened, and when we let's face it, many of us, or most of us, were opposed to the Good Friday Agreement, and when we put our hand of friendship out to the Shinners, or encouraged other people to put their hands of friendship out, it wasn't that hard. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't the world didn't stop spinning when Sinn Féin and the IRSP and the societies all sat in the one room. Nor was it the answer to all of our problems.
But it was a great learning experience for me as an activist, because sometimes be careful what you wish for, Kieran, too. Do you know what I mean? Because you're always this like, there's an idolatry around Republican unity, but whenever you see it in action, it's chaotic. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got so many different competing strands of thought, and you've got so many different egos and personalities, and you've got machoism, and you've got people who are really, really suspicious of each other. Like, somebody coming into the room saying, "Here, folks, listen, I'm open and transparent, and this is what I want to achieve." It kind of throws people out of it. When you have no other ulterior motive, only the common goal. But
we're getting off topic here, but back to the nightmare, like the COVID-19 nightmare. Councillor Gallagher, I was talking to Councillor Paul Gallagher just before yourself there, and he mentioned that initiatives, that he was confident that community initiatives along the border there would be able to replicate Veragger's promise to feed the vulnerable and feed the elderly. My own mother, she's 73 and she lives on the northern side of the border, but down by Armagh there, and I can't see Boris Johnson being able to send troops into South Armagh even to feed the elderly. Like, do you think grassroots initiatives, community-based Irish non-state initiatives will be able to and will be resourced to step up to the plate in this crisis?
Well, we're going to have to resource ourselves, Kieran, from within our own communities, and that means like not stockpiling goods in your own home. That you know, like take what you need, like not what you want. Don't go on the Asda and fill your trolley with toilet roll, whatever you do, your nappies.
Yeah.
You know, there's been like maybe last Wednesday or Thursday, we began to see posts on social media around West Tyrone and things of genuine people saying, "Here, folks, I just went down to the supermarket there to get food for the wean and get a lot of nappies. They're all gone."
That's terrible.
What's going on here? Do you know what I mean? We had people stockpiling, we had people panicking, and you can't really fault people for panicking, like, because when you turn on the mainstream media, you turn on any news outlet, you turn on it's apocalypse now. Do you know what I mean? But it's not the apocalypse. Yeah. Like, we'll get through this, and we'll make sure once we get out the other end, people will be getting held to account. But not. But as I said before, there's WhatsApp groups getting set up from communities. There's social media pages set up from communities. Neighbours are talking to each other. People are letting people know. Today, like I done a run to the pharmacy today down to the chemist.
You're breaking up there, Michael.
I'm sorry. I done a run today, Kieran, down to the chemist for a neighbour.
Yeah.
And whenever I walked up to the health centre where the chemist is, really, really, really eerie. Everybody was aware, and everybody was practicing social distancing themselves, and like, people are scared. But there is community solidarity. There is people stepping up. Like, and see, over the next 2 months, working class heroes will emerge. When you see them, 100% it'll happen. People will just be brave and step up, and there won't be feats of heroism, and there'll be selfless acts, and there'll be. But that's normal. That's like, we get fed in the mainstream media this individualism, this capitalist type society kind of outlook where it's all me, and that's not our nature. Our nature is to look out for each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, that's good news. Some good news. I think, if people can see some hope. I mean, stress is bad for your immune system, folks. Fear is bad for your immune system. We need some hope, and Michael's just given us some there. Michael, stay safe. I know Ciara is expecting.
I know.
Yeah.
Way number 4, we're not wise.
No, us too. Yeah, number ever care. Yeah.
Well, here, see today, it just came before you go. Like, just want to make a comment on the newsletter article, the opinion piece by Polly.
That's right, and that just for listeners, just so the newsletter basically condemned the initiatives or the calls from Sinn Féin and the initiatives led by many parents in nationalist areas to keep their children out of schools. They condemned it as, I think they called it a coup.
Well, the headline in the newsletter today, big banner headline, like the nationalist reaction to coronavirus, it's a coup, right?
Yeah.
You know, so because we didn't listen to the British Tory Party, because we have like a historical culture of resistance to whatever comes out of London, because we were conscious of even the language that the Tories were using. Like, imagine putting the language herd immunity into the mainstream political discourse.
That's hard.
Man, do you know what I mean? Well, that's the way that they think of people. Do you know, like a herd, like a cattle? Do you know what I mean? Do you know, like a shocking, like, but unionism are clicking their heels, man. Unionism are falling behind. Unionism are ready to give their kids Tim hats and Lee Enfield rifles and send them off to the Somme again. It's like, when are they going to learn? Do you know what I mean?
Oh man. Well, we're going to see. We've got a battle ahead, but we've got some great fighters out there.
100%. And I'll be here. You'll be here. I'm sure Sean Breslin and Gags and Joe Matthews and there's dozens and dozens of, if not hundreds, of genuine, honest political activists who are working class and have their community at the heart across all Republican groups across the entire spectrum in the north. And I don't think that we'll be all sitting in the house and watching our neighbours suffer or watching our community suffer. That ain't going to happen, Kieran. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Michael McLaughlin, take care and look out for yourself. See you soon. 100%. Bye.